A very warm welcome to our viewers this very Thursday, beautiful morning. And I must tell you, it's a day that you should really look forward to listening to the show this morning because we have such amazing topics that are going to entice you into different spaces and uplift you. And of course, educate you to be able to get out of the types of situations you're in and overcome those particular challenges that you're facing. And that's what it's about. The show is there to entice you into a positive space and change your lives and the quality of your life for a better one. So, a very warm welcome from myself, Nafisa Dangle, this morning on the Mid Morning Show. We're looking forward to speaking to many people and enticing you into very different aspects of your life to be able to better the things that you face. And let me just give you a bit of a breakdown of what you can expect on the show. But before we do that, there was some form of a quote that I read by late Desmond Tutu, and it says, "Always remember this: when you see the glass half full, hope is being able to see that there's light despite all of the darkness." So, irrespective of the types of darknesses we're facing through the challenges that we encounter in our lives, it's about asking ourselves, looking at that glass, how can we fill it with all the light that we can find, the positivity, and changing things for the better by changing our mindset, of course. And I think one of the most important things about that is the way we look at ourselves. And that's what we're going to be discussing with Nazia Salejie this morning. We're going to be talking about self-esteem and why self-esteem is so important for your mental health. I think a lot of the times we don't realize the importance of this particular topic, and Nazia is going to bring that to light for us this morning. Followed by that, we're going to be speaking to a company called the Retrade Project with Maria Gruwer, and she's going to be talking to us about the need by allowing people to trade recyclable items for food, clothing, and toiletries. And she is the founder of this particular company, and she's going to be enticing us to be able to help her to reach out to those in need and creating a better environment. And of course, I think she's defined a need that's very different to what we're going and doing out there every single day. Followed by that, we'll be speaking to Mitle Zetu Dini, a recovering drug addict. And she's going to share her story of how she turned her life around from being addicted to, of course, creating her own foundation to be able to help people that are in that particular situation and creating that spinal cord and that structure to be able to help them move forward and get out of that type of situation that they're in and changing their lives for the better. That's what it's all about. And then talking about things like that, we're also going to be talking to OCAF SA's CEO Zainul Kaji and the CEO of the Ulta Wheat Foundation, Mohsin Desai. And they're going to talk to us about the partnership that they saw on donating laptops to the Al Tawheed Foundation. So it's all about giving back, enticing people into better spaces and places, and of course, showcasing people that have gone through challenges and how they've overcome it to be able to make you understand that you can also change your life for the better. So stick with us. We'll be back with you in an instant.
Meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal's Breakfast Club aim to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend the day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner by visiting our website on www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Nasiri Products, don't forget this name. Nasiri Product is your one-stop health shop. Fresh dates directly from Medina Al Munawwara, available for Ramadan and all year long. We're also stockists of nuts, honey, figs, pure olive oil, oats mixed with dates and nuts, and other varieties of healthy food products in store. Contact us on 011 075 5770 or WhatsApp us on 073 565 9355. Visit our website at www.nasiriproduct.co.za. We are located in Fordsburg, 1792 Albertina Sisulu Road, opposite Shan Spices. Nasiri Products.
With up to 97% of Gaza's water supply unfit for human consumption, desalinated water is the only hope to avoid catastrophe. The Al Imdad Foundation has been operating desalination plants and delivering safe water in the Gaza Strip since 2014. Help us continue providing clean, safe drinking water in Gaza by donating your lila or sadaqah today. Visit alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Engaging conversations, inspirations, and more. This is the Nafisa Dango Show on Salam Media between 2 and 4 p.m.
Welcome back to the show, and we're definitely going to be starting off on a positive note. I'm going to be speaking to Nazia Salejie, an outreach program coordinator, a life coach, and she was also a nurse at Sanka Nishtara Alcohol and Drug Center. And this morning, we're going to be talking a topic that I think many of us actually take for granted and don't realize the importance of it. It's called self-esteem. Now, what is self-esteem? Self-esteem is literally the way we perceive ourselves, the way we look at ourselves and our values and our inner being, and the type of self-worth we think we have. And she's going to be talking to us this morning about this particular topic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's such a pleasure to be in your space again. I really miss being in your show.
I think we missed you too, Nazia. It's always about getting enticed. You know, I think every time we chat to you and we discuss a particular topic, it gives us some food for thought to be able to entice ourselves as well within the team about the types of challenges we're facing and how we can overcome them. So I think you've been inspirational in many directions, not just only with the viewers. So welcome to the show once again. Let's talk about this particular word, self-esteem. I think it's something that we just take for granted and not realize how important it really is for ourselves and how we bring it into our everyday lives and how it really affects us.
You know, self-esteem is something that has to change with your age, with your time of life. The way that you feel about yourself, it actually starts from a very young age. How do the emotions of the people around you, how it influenced you, how it has actually formed your view of the world, your perception, and made you feel whether you are worth, your sense of self-worth, your sense of value, it's dictated also your direction in life. So this word is so holistic and it speaks to so many areas of your life. And what's amazing is it changes as you age, your sense of self-worth. And if you know your worth from a young age, if as a child you are cultivated, to believe certain things about yourself, that gives rise to such a more assertive, self-aware person who makes good decisions that are healthy for mind, body, and soul. So self-esteem does not start when someone is a teenager. It starts from the time you are able to start computing what's happening around you. So it's something that is just such a broad, wonderful topic to explore.
I agree with you there, but in many cases, I think we don't realize that self-esteem is not just about liking yourself. It's about a holistic perception of yourself. Let's put it that way. And it's a way of also improving your mental health. And as we know, at this particular time, there's many people that are suffering with serious mental health issues. And I think self-esteem comes into that particular area where it showcases how we can actually get ourselves out of that particular mental situation that we're in by looking at ourselves in a different light.
Absolutely. Some people have the ability to pull themselves out of a dark situation by virtue of saying, no, I know what I'm worth. I know what I can bring to the table. So why am I doubting myself in this regard? Or what can I do? What resources do I have available to me in terms of support, in terms of my internal navigational tools? What have I been taught? Do I come from a loving, supportive family? Have I been given the tools necessary to navigate through this? Because mental wellness, let's face it, it's become pretty much the biggest, I can say, the biggest kind of pandemic that's gone unnoticed. We're seeing
Mm,
rises in suicides at the moment by people who seem to have everything in
mm,
life. So
mm,
how do you feel about yourself? That begs the question. Are you really happy with yourself? What is it in your life that you can change or need to change? Is it your outlook that's hurting you? Is it something that happened in your past that you haven't dealt with that's still affecting the way you feel about yourself or the way you see yourself? So everything it needs a perfect balance, or we need to strive to get the best balance possible in order for us to be successful and healthy and happy in our lives.
I agree with you. It's about, like you said, creating the balance, and once we determine that, it's going to move us into another mind. I think our mindset's the most important. What we're telling ourselves is what's happening to us, and I think we don't realize that, and that's where the word self-talk comes into play. Is to I know it sounds strange for many people, where you stand in a mirror and you talk to yourself and you tell yourself, this is the way I feel, this is me, this is who I should be, this is, and talking about, should we say, the positive attributes about yourself, and I think that's what's going to entice you into a better space. And there's nothing wrong, and I think a lot of people think that self-talk is something that you shouldn't be doing, but there's absolutely, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, because what it does is it makes you realize the value and the worth that you have within yourself, and the types of potentials that you can bring to the table as well. And I think once we realize that we are allowed to talk to ourselves in a private space, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Self-talk actually is happening whether we want to acknowledge or not.
Mhm.
That's You are always talking to yourself. You are giving yourself a certain type of message in a certain type of tone of voice. And while some people will think that's crazy, it's not, because you've been doing it this whole time. That's how you do things. That's how you are able to action certain things. So I heard someone say the other day, they said, you should say to yourself, I am not my body. I am not my mind. I am a soul. You should tell
Mm,
yourself, remind yourself, so that you always come back home to yourself, because people will influence your thought process. You're picking up on other people's emotions as you're going along during the day.
mm,
So it's important to come back to yourself, talk to yourself and say, listen, I am not so and so situation. I am not involved in this kind of an emotion. It's draining me. I'm feeling a little bit less energetic, so I need to pull away from this in order for me to feel, better. I need to just put myself in a positive mind space. That is self-talk. When you're driving and you're thinking and planning what you're going to make for supper and what, that is self-talk. So the tone of self-talk is also a conversation to have when it comes to self-esteem. You have this inner voice in you that is programmed to be negative. It will always see the negative. That's why it is so difficult to be a positive person, because it requires more effort. To see the negative is easy. Anybody can do it. But in order to see the positive, you've got to look harder. You've got to train yourself to look past the negative. You've got to decide what you can control and what you can't control in situations. And then you need to take it from there. And self-talk and self-esteem, it's a muscle that can only grow and strengthen and reflect. You've got to practice it. You've got to practice how and when to
mm,
say how, because we have this people pleasing also, kind of like a problem.
mm,
If I don't know how to say no. Well, if you have, the sense of self and you are self-aware and self-actualized, you will know where your limitations are, instead of trying to train yourself to please other people so they will accept. Do you even need to be accepted by people? Ask yourself why you need that. Why is that
mm.
validation and acknowledgement and their recognition so important that you would sacrifice your state of mind for peace, and otherwise free yourself. You are the
Mm.
prisoner. You are the warden and the prisoner in this regard.
I so agree with you, because it is that type of relationship where you yourself need to decide which situation you're going to put yourself in. Are you going to be the warden, or are you going to be the prisoner? And in many cases, you find that you do end up being the prisoner. Many of us are guilty of that because, like you say, you don't know how to say no. You want to be that pleaser. You don't want to disappoint people. But I think what happens is, inevitably, that's where you lose yourself somewhere along the line, not realizing that you need to also take care of yourself. And that's where we start losing our mental health, because we find ourselves in so many spaces that we can't start dealing with the types of situations we're in. It starts becoming overwhelming. And I think that's where as you were talking earlier, the negativity comes in, and that's where we need to learn to strike the balance.
Yes. And that brings me to toxicity. When we get so used to a toxic situation that it becomes normal, like when did we start accepting, being treated a certain way? When did we start accepting that, we can't say no? It becomes toxic because it's overwhelming, and overwhelming means we can't cope. So, getting used to toxicity because you don't have a strong enough self-esteem to stand up for yourself, that leads to physical, emotional, mental, and psychological stresses. So self-esteem is the root, and I think that this deserves such. It actually should be focused on, especially in terms of life orientation in school, in children, so that
Mm,
it can really save them from making bad decisions or decisions that can cause harm to them or their future. If you have a self-actualized child, you have an empowered child, because this person
mm,
is afraid to ask questions, is not afraid to say no, is not afraid to not go with the crowd, and is not easily influenced. So they can stand up and say, I don't agree with this, and if you don't like me, then that's okay.
mm.
I'm happy with my.
Yeah, and that's where self-talk comes back into play, is where you can tell yourself that, you know what, I have so much of worth and value, and I can choose what I can and what I can't do. And like you're saying, toxicity is there, and it's having to be able to sift through it to see what is good for you and what isn't. Because inevitably, these are the things that affect us on a daily basis. It's the type of people we interact with and what we do for ourselves and what we do for others. Um, Nobody says that you shouldn't be helping and uplifting and stuff like that, but it's being able to choose what is good for your soul and what is good for your upliftment, in a positive sense, as opposed to mixing with people that are going to actually bring you down.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Because I mean, we have situations where the pictures have changed. We've got social media now. We've got different platforms where it's open for people to perhaps comment on, your pictures or your posts, and you can't control what the next person is typing about you or what their opinion is about you. And we see that this is affecting people's mental health. How
Mm,
can a stranger, someone who doesn't know you, cause you or push you to the brink of breaking point. But if you have a positive self-esteem, and it takes a lot to build yourself up to the point that, listen, even if I post something and somebody comments in a negative sense, or they don't have a good opinion of me, their opinion is not my reality. So how do I shake this off, shrug it off, and move on? That's a skill as well that comes part and parcel of self-esteem, especially in the new age of where we also on the media, on social media and whatnot. And it's just open season for people to say what they want to say, however, and, they're not always held accountable. But then, how does it affect the self-esteem of the person who they're commenting about?
mm,
And how do we navigate through that? That is also something to note, and to guard yourself, insulate yourself, know your worth, know your value, know where you're going and what you are focused on, and don't be shaken, because really you
mm,
cannot respond to every person. They say, let the small
mm.
battles go, you can win the war.
I'm glad that you brought that topic up, because many of us follow social media avidly, and we're most of the time on our phones. But and I'm just glad that you brought that aspect up, because what happens is, we start looking at certain people that are so-called role models in society, and we look at their lives and think it's all just pretty perfect and there's nothing wrong with it. And then we start looking at ourselves in a negative connotation, saying, but they have this and they have that, and I don't have much of it, but not realizing that they also are normal human beings that have challenges of their own that, of course, are not going to be brought to the fore on that particular platform. But I think it's also for us as individuals to go out there to say that it's okay. People like yourselves can go out on the platform and say that it's okay if something negative happens to you, because we are human after all. And life is a roller coaster ride. It can't be positive all the time. So it's how we ride the ride that's going to actually give us a better quality and a happier space in life.
Absolutely. There's a quote that comes to mind. I don't know, I can't quote the author, but I do know the quote. It says, I am not what you think of me. I am not what you think of me. I am what I think you think I am.
Right.
So I'll let the listeners and the viewers let it sink in. I am not what you think of me. I am not what I think of me. I am what I think you think of me. So in front of you, I will be what I think you think of me. In front of someone else, I will be what I think they think of me, But what about think of myself? I should be strong enough not to change, like a chameleon. I am who I am. Whoever is good for me will gravitate towards me, and whoever is not good for me, they will obviously be repelled or whatever the case is by whatever my energy or my, my tone of voice or whatever. But at the end of the day, I need to be okay, and that's self-esteem. I'm okay if you're here. I'm okay if you're not here. I'm okay if you like me. I'm okay if you don't like me. But getting to that state and that phase at different levels of your life, you see 60-year-old people still trying to keep up with each other. You see 13-year-olds being more influenced. And we've got an age of influencers now, where there are people on social media who post things, and these kids and these people follow them and compare themselves. And it affects the self-esteem, because you don't know the whole story, like you said. You don't know what this person is going through behind the scenes. You're only seeing sort of like a reality that they have constructed, so you get an image of their life. So don't let it, because there is a whole backstory going on there that obviously we don't have privy to. But that would be also for us to sort of navigate and know the difference between the two.
I so agree with you there. It's about being able to just sift through it and look at the positive that they're trying to bring out, as opposed to looking at yourself in the negative. So look at that particular person and say, what have I learned from them? As opposed to saying, oh, look at their lives and I need to try and, of course, mimic and be a part of that. They're role models in their own way. So it's trying, like you were saying, trying to look at it and trying to sift out and take out the good that they're trying to give us through their influence. What message would you like to leave our viewers with this morning?
Nafisa, we always look back and say, if what would I say to my 20-year-old self? What would I say to my old self? And I don't want to give my age away, but I just want to. I want to ask you, what would you say to your 16-year-old self? It's a case of, if I knew then what I know now, would I have been so hard on myself? Would I have looked at myself and compared myself to others as much? Would I have had insecurities that I had? What? How would I change my internal conversation, my self-talk? How would I guide myself? I mean, what would I say to myself? I think I will leave listeners and viewers with that. What would you say to your younger self? Write a letter to your younger self. Ask and advise your younger self and say, if I knew then what I now, you'll see that there were things you were worried about that you really didn't need to worry about. There were things you wasted time and energy on that you really didn't need to, because in the end, everything works out and feelings change. Don't ever make a decision in the midst of a feeling, sit, meditate on it, make dua about it, ask for guidance about it, and in a calm state of mind, make a decision to be better. But yeah, what would you tell your younger self? That will be so interesting to read back to yourself and just.
I so agree with you. I think it's all about just reflection and looking back at what you have done in your life and asking yourself that, or telling yourself that I can change the way I was. Each one of us has a stepping stone where we learn something and we grow from all those mistakes that we make. So we can't look at ourselves in a negative connotation, but literally just, they say a lot of the times, some of the failures that we go through allow us to grow and realize how we can be better people. And some of the experiences we experience as well does that to us. So I think we've learned a lot this morning from that. I want to thank you so much for joining me and always enticing myself, the team, and all the viewers into better spaces and places, and making us realize that there is hope out there through people like yourself. So Jazakallah so much. Always a pleasure chatting to you, Nazia. Thank you. And I'm going to go and write back again to my 16-year-old self and see what happens. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nafisa, for having me. As always, it's been such a pleasure.
It sure has on my side too. Take care of yourself and hope to chat to you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Nazia Salejie talking to us about self-esteem and, of course, the importances of self-esteem, what it means for us, and self-talk, and realizing the values and the importances that we carry within ourselves, and not looking at others and comparing, but really looking at yourself and seeing your inner being and appreciating that. Stick with us. We'll be back with you in a sec.